Hello, my name is Paula Hurlock. Welcome to my channel. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so. And feel free to share whatever today's message is if you think it's going to resonate with someone else, another like-minded person. So today's topic we're going to talk about is sovereignty reclamation. And, when I do these videos, I don't do this whole heap of research and I don't use definitions. I just speak from my heart. And when I think about sovereignty, I immediately think about colonization. So reclaiming our sovereignty would mean that we are reclaiming our freedom, our pre-colonial freedom of mind, freedom of thought, freedom to practice our culture, and freedom of our spirit in general. In other words, not being bound by the imposed laws and strictures of our colonizers. Now that it's a tough cookie because most countries on the planet have been colonized. Most of the new world has been colonized to the point where we don't even know the difference between our culture, what we are and who we are, versus what has been imposed on us. Sometimes we want to refer to that as a colonial mindset, where we have bought into what the colonizers have imposed so much that we literally frown upon anything that has to do with our true tradition, our true ancestral practices. Now, because I'm here in Jamaica, I'm able to witness it firsthand, where our colonizers brought us in and they imposed upon us the religion of Christianity, and we've taken it on because we are very spiritual people naturally. But later on, you're able to see when certain diaries and history books are brought out that the imposition of religion was to pacify us so that we would be easier to manage on the slave plantations. So you just have to bring into question all of these things and ask yourself, some serious questions. Based on what the colonizers did to us, should we be trusting them? Should we accept what they have imposed upon us? Or should we be looking carefully at what what the predecessor of these religions were, right? Another thing that I was able to witness in my country of Jamaica is that our traditional practices, ancestral practices from Africa were actually demonized and in some cases made illegal. On the books, drums are still illegal. Why? Because the drums were the means by which our ancestors would communicate with each other across plantations, across mountain ranges. And of course, we gave them a little trouble. We gave them some challenge. And so they outlawed the use of the drums. Our practices, our ancestral practices were also vilified and were thought to be evil and said to be evil. This has also happened in Haiti, where there is stigma around, their voodoo. Okay. But the more you read and the more you research, you realize that these were gentle practices based on nature, based on uh, an acceptance of natural laws, universal laws, and just observation of nature, right? But what has happened? is that they take the bad part, they put it forward and say, this is what happens, this is bad, it's all evil. Yeah? But yet you see the syncretism between some of these African practices, beliefs, and symbolism, and the beliefs and symbolism in religion itself. That's a discussion for another day, and I am by no means an expert on this. So feel free to share your wisdom in the comment section in that regard. But I'm saying all of that to say this. We are actually right now, as we speak, in this process of reclaiming our sovereignty as Indigenous people, as people of color, as descendants of the African, the motherland. And we're actually now witnessing real time certain countries in Africa rejecting their colonial masters and rejecting neocolonialism. And for that, we should be grateful and we should be applauding and supporting in any way that we can, right? Um, I'm also carefully keeping my eyes on what is unfolding in Hawaii, which is a US state. But because I'm curious as to what has happened, I have been searching around and I've been listening to Hawaiians, Indigenous Hawaiians speaking. And basically, they are echoing the same sentiments where they want back their freedom, they want their sovereignty to be reclaimed, they want to be able to practice freely their culture. They are lamenting the area in Hawaii that has been burnt. And many are saying that it is a very, very significant ancestral site. And so they recognize, for the first time perhaps, how significant it is what has been done to them. The fact that their freedom has been taken, their land has been taken, and their very existence is now being challenged. There literally hundreds of people have died in Hawaii. And we are now seeing in many, many countries in Africa that some of the crises that we read about historically were not actually crises. There were no famines going on per se. What was happening was that the powers that be created the crisis or the chaos so that they could intervene and bring order under their supervision. Most of the crisis and the chaos that was created was for land grabs and was for securing natural resources. It was specifically to displace large groups of people so that the land could be taken over and exploited. And the history books are not quite saying it that way, but that is what is being revealed now. But the interesting fact is that even though it is being revealed now, the same modus operandi is still being utilized to take control of different areas and territories that have very rich natural resources. And so we are seeing the resurgence of Indigenous people speaking out powerfully about how important their ancestors' practices are and how important it is for them to preserve it. And so we just must start to wake up, start to pay attention, and start to support groups that are speaking up about their indigenous rights, their history being erased. Here in Jamaica, there was basically an erasing of a whole group of people, but it was a paper genocide. In other words, it was erased from the history books. And many things have been erased from our history books. Right now, there's a huge debate in the US about the true Jews and the fact that there were Africans on the American mainland before the slaves came, before Columbus came, and that there is a strong there's strong evidence as in drawings, paintings, artworks, and depictions that they are now finding that is showing and telling a totally different story, right? So a lot of things are coming to the surface. One of the things that I've been hearing them talk about a lot is the Black Madonnas. Those are pieces of art that have been stolen from different parts of the world and are now housed in the in the home of the Pope in Italy. Okay, and art doesn't lie. The color of the skin of the Madonna is dark, right? It's not a light-skinned Madonna. And again, a lot of the history books have been whitewashed, colors changed, hair textures changed to drive the narrative, and to cement the lie. But again, the truth is coming out slowly. And so this video, the purpose of this video is just to alert you to some of these facts, that it's not crazy stuff. It's not untrue stuff. It is actually the truth. And should you do the research, you will find even further truths. This video may be offending some people, but it may be enlightening some people. The main purpose is just to share truth and to give you little tidbits that you can go and do some research on. Also, the purpose of this video is to let all the indigenous peoples all over the world know that they are not alone, and it's your time now. Whether you are Aboriginal, whether you are Native American Indian, whether you are Central American and Latin American Indian, whether you are Taino, whether you're Carib, whether you are living on the islands in the East Indies, India, off the coast of Africa, all of those islands and countries where your ancestral knowledge has been wiped out or eradicated, know that the truth is coming out and there is a resurgence. Be a part of that resurgence, because the ancients knew about this resurgence. They knew that it was coming, and so it is something that will not be stopped. It cannot be stopped. It was written in the stars. So we are here behind every indigenous group and every original group of people in this planet.